All right, in problem 8, it asks you to find all the trig ratios given this triangle. Well, we can find two of the ratios just by looking at this. So before we even do anything, we have this angle, we have an adjacent side, and we have a hypotenuse. So which trig ratio relates adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So we know that the cosine of theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Well, this reduces. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So you get 4 over root 17. So if you tried to type that in, it's going to tell you it's incorrect. And the reason for that is it's not simplified. And so you do have to rationalize the denominator. Easiest way to do that is just enter it on your calculator. 4 divided by the square root of 17. And when you do, it gives you the simplified form 4 root 17 over 17. And now let me show you the common mistake that you guys tend to make. And I'm willing to bet over half of you made this. And that is, if you took just the original number here, so 8 over 2 root 17, and you entered it in your calculator, 8 divided by 2 square root 17, and hit enter. Notice this gives you a different answer than what we found here. The reason for that is your calculator trusts you to identify order of operations, otherwise it's going to use the rules for that. The way that we entered this, 8/2 times root 17, there's no priority between multiplying and dividing in order of operations. Therefore, if you have a sequence of those operations, it'll move from left to right. So your calculator thinks it needs to divide 8 by 2 first, giving you a 4, and then multiply that by root 17. So in order for you to make sure that you do this correctly, what you would need to do is put grouping symbols around that entire denominator. And if you do it that way, your calculator will display the correct form of the answer. So just be careful how you enter that and double check the order of operations. And now, in addition to the cosine, we could also find the reciprocal ratio. The reciprocal function for cosine is secant. So all we have to do is flip our fraction. And again, you can flip any form of the fraction. There's no reason you have to go back in and type this whole thing in again. Just flip this form of your fraction. So the 4 goes in the denominator, the root 17 in the numerator, and you have your secant. All right, the final part to this problem is, in order to solve for the sine and the tangent and their reciprocal functions, you need to know what that third side is. And so in order to find that third side, you can use Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus 8 squared is equal to the quantity 2 root 17 squared. And so it's just a matter of solving for that. So if we type it in, solve feature, the F2 algebra tab, type x squared plus 8 squared is equal to, now just like with the division, we have to make sure that both the 2 and the root 17 are getting squared. So as we enter these, we need to combine that whole quantity, 2 root 17, to the power of 2, comma x tells the calculator what we want it to solve for, and we get our solution to be 2 or negative 2. Okay. Since we can't have a negative distance, we'll just use the positive form. And so now it's just a matter of typing in our other trig ratios. So we had cosine, let's go ahead and type in sine. Sine is opposite 2 over hypotenuse 2 root 17. When you rationalize, you get root 17 over 17. The cosecant is the reciprocal function for that. We just invert this fraction. 1 over root 17 is equivalent to root 17 over 1. And then finally our tangent is opposite over adjacent, so 2 over 8, which reduces to 1/4. And the reciprocal function, cotangent, is just the inverse of this. Flip it, you get 4 over 1, or just the 4.